Hello, everyone. My guest today is someone I love and I admire. So thank you for being here, Wesley.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks so much.
So you are stand-up comedian and you just told me that you are doing sign language.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I've been on the stand-up comedy journey for about 4 years now at this point. And and professionally, for a long time, I've been in education, but the thing right now that I'm most focused on is I'm in a sign language interpreting training course. Preparing myself to do that professionally. So yeah, that's and it's been great meeting you in the last however many months and everything. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the title of the podcast as well, Open Mind.
Oh my God, thank you. So you do sign, and thank you for liking the title. It's my pleasure. And you are doing the sign language because do you feel bad for deaf people, or do you think there is more money there?
Well, it's I would say that I grew up bilingual. I grew up, my parents actually can't hear. So I grew up with sign language. I would say it's my first language, I would say. I have a brother and sister who can hear. Everyone in my family can hear, but my parents can't. And so we grew up with just and everything. So that it's I feel, and it might be true for many people, but I feel like the pandemic, it was a big shift. So basically all my professional life, I mean, in addition to comedy, but my professional life also has been in education. And there was something in the pandemic, maybe all the time, all the quiet time, just the things that maybe were in my heart sort of came to the surface. I wanted to work in the sign language field my whole life, but I sort of put it to the side and everything. And it was something about that quiet time. It just made me feel like, you know what, I think now's the time to really go for the things that I love and everything. In addition to comedy, I almost feel like this quiet time also in terms of comedians, a lot of comedians got into comedy in that quiet time because maybe it was something that so many of us wanted to do, but just all that quiet time to think, to just in a sense kind of listen to our hearts and realize what it is that we want to do, and what makes us happy and everything. But I'll speak for myself.
No, just to follow up, I would say that you are very interested person, and I just love it when you come to the room to listen to your materials. I didn't know that you do sign language. I think I heard that, but I was sure that your parents they can't hear. I heard some of your jokes, so I guess that's where you bring your materials from.
Well, absolutely, and so I don't know if you'd agree, but this is there's something that I've heard that may or may not be true, but it just in terms of stand-up comedy that it takes a comedian 10 years to really know what kind of comedian they are, or something like that it takes 10 years. And when I first heard that, I felt like, wow, that feels a little extreme. I mean, not to say that, some people, they start stand-up comedy and they can have great success in a short amount of time. But I feel like as I'm on this journey about 4 years or so, I'm starting to understand what they're saying, because I almost feel like, I mean, I know when I first started, I mean, I was just trying to write whatever jokes I could. But then as I've been on this journey longer, it's the most common sense to write about our own life. But I feel like it takes a lot of courage in a sense, because it takes a vulnerability. And I feel like even though I've been doing this for a number of years, I'm just starting to realize, oh, I should talk about my experiences growing up. It's growing up with sign language. And so I'm just starting to write that material. And I appreciate all the shows that you've hosted, in terms of allowing so many of us to kind of work out our material and
Mhm. Yeah, no, 100%. I think that comedian, it's like the horror of finding who you really are. And I think it's not even a battle between you and making people laugh, or between you and the audience. It's between you and yourself. You have to go to the stage to really find who you really are. Like, you are trying to find who you really are. If you run after the laugh and like, oh, do sit up, twist, punchline, like, it's not science, you know. You are not making a car, or you are not doing a surgery. It's an art, which is you need to find yourself. Yeah, for sure, there is steps to follow, and I'm not, yeah. But the 10 years is also something that's funny, because some comedians, they think that if they do comedy for 10 years, something magical will happen. And one comedian, he's like, I've been doing it for 7 years, so now 3 years left. But no, I know someone who's been doing it for 2 months, and he's funnier than you.
Yeah, right. So it's like you say, it's not an exact science, and I live in New York City, so it's nice here, especially before the pandemic. We have a lot of comedy clubs here, and we have classes, and I know some comedians, there's different opinions about the classes, but what I've taken a couple of those classes, and I took one class with a great comedian. Her name is Carol Montgomery, and she's been on Showtime a few times, and great comedian. And what I took those classes in a sense just to have access to mentors, just to talk with people who have experience, and she talked a lot about how comedy, it's this journey, and it's really unpredictable. We just don't know. It's like you said, it's not like working for a company and getting a pension after 10 years. It's really unpredictable. We have no idea what's going to happen, or if we're performing, whether on Zoom or in person, who's going to be in the audience, and hey, I like your material about New York City, and you know, and I want to put you on this show, and who knows? I mean, it's one thing I really want to do. I want to read more memoirs about comedians, because all their journeys are just, it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable.
100%. And just, you know, like, when you talk about yourself, and you comedian, you have to find who you are. You have to find yourself, not to look fake. If that's who you are, and it's that's why I feel like comedians are very interested people, especially comedians who are very successful, because they really found who they are. Which is, I would say, many people live in Earth and they really don't know who they are. It's hard to know who you are. It's hard to know who's, like, when you look to yourself in the mirror, it's like, who I'm really, and that's why people do too many mistakes. That's why people live with regret. So comedians are very special people. And I was fortunate, or I was lucky. Also, you need to know what are you trying to do. Like, as I said before, it's not like you learn, okay, sit up, twist, punchline, people will laugh. No, what are you trying to, because you are talking to people are giving you their mind, you are formulating some things in other people's mind, you are trying to formulate other people's mind when they listen to you, which is great. You have power. That's why I feel like comedy is more powerful than guns, than anything. When you write, when you do an art, and that's why I'm doing it, because I feel that's one way to help Yemen. And I feel it's even,
wow,
and Arabic countries. And I feel that's stronger than going and bomb myself, or going with gun, or some people think like, let's do war. No, I think if you do comedy, you are doing stronger. Like, just participate what you think you are for.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love that idea, how powerful it is. I mean, and I love that, in a sense. I mean, you're on stage, and I think you're hilarious, and you're saying funny things, but right, but the whole idea about Yemen, I mean, you know, it might be, I don't know if it's our American media, but what we, first of all, we don't learn about Yemen in school. We never talk about that country, and the only access we have to it is in our headlines. They usually relate that country as it relates to war. That's the only time I've ever seen it in terms of headlines. But through your comedy and knowing you, and you know, I read about it. I looked it up. I learned that football, or as where some of us call it, soccer, is very big in Yemen, and I feel like that I would love, one of these days, I'd love to visit and go see some sports. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. But through what you're doing, it's opened a lot of our eyes of it's expanding our worldview and everything.
Yeah. I would like to give you an idea what's going on in Yemen.
Yeah.
So there is war for 8 years, and I'm gonna start blaming the people within the country before I blame people out. So first of all, Yemeni people, I would say that they are humans that have the wrong mind program. Like, the mind is fucked. Like, it's like you have laptop and it's full of viruses. So that's how I identify humans in Yemen, that these humans are devices, but it's burned from, like, it's full of viruses inside, you know, and that's why the decisions are wrong. Which is, as you are American, I would like to tell you how your country is involved. So it's weird that Saudi, they sell the gas, the oil, the petrol, whatever they get out of the ground, with dollar. They have, so the dollar, there is more demand for the dollar. If anyone wants to buy gas from Saudi or petrol or anything, they have to pay with dollar. So there is more demand for the dollar. And the second thing is Saudi, they buy so many weapons from the US to use against the war in Yemen. And the problem is, Yemeni people, when they go to fight Saudi, they have key with them for heaven. So that's how, so, and they would go with gun, and they don't care, they will about their life. But Saudi, they care about their soldiers' life, because they have this, and they spend so much money. Like, they will throw one bomb from airplane that cost 1 million, you know, or 500,000, just to kill 2 or 3, because that people don't care, like, they are just running, you know. So it costs them so much money, because people from Yemen, they have no life. And now Yemen is 3 parts, I would say. So the south, it's for Emirate, and Saudi, like, they take it, because Yemen, we have a very strategic place that even all the ships from all around the world has to pass from there.
Right. So you're on, because I saw you're on the coast. You're on the coast of, I'm not sure what body of water that is, but you're between Africa and the Middle East.
Yes,
is where Yemen is, right?
So I'm trying to show you, maybe in the map, so you can have more idea about what I'm trying to tell you. See, See, this is how the sea is made. Okay, I will share my screen so you can see what I'm.
All right.
So you see, this is Yemen.
Right.
So this is ours.
Right.
So
Right.
this,
Right. So
the
I
Red Sea, the Gulf, all the ships has to pass from here. It's very strategic place.
right.
So regarding that Yemen, most of the gas and the oil that Saudi is taking, it's in the board between us and them, and they are taking everything as well. So this part is gone for the Emirate, and they are like, imagine if you need visa to go to the south of Yemen, you get your visa from Emirate, not from Yemen or from Saudi. If you need the Yemeni passport, you have to get their acceptance, not from your country. You see how the, and the south is for Iran, and you need to get the exception. That's why, like, as Yemeni citizen, me, if I need to renew my passport or if I need to get any certificate, it's so hard because I have no government, nobody cares. So just this is just an idea. I throw everything to the middle. The worst analysis you can ever get in the world, but I did my best.
No, it's helpful to hear about. Right. I mean, yeah, it's we hear about, generally we hear about the war. One thing that I heard was interesting is that during the coronavirus, that basically that put a stop to a lot of the battles and everything. So I'm not saying there was anything great about coronavirus, but at least that was a where it caused some, but it's not, generally it's not, I feel like it's not really covered here. It's not really talked about, and right. So it's as you talk about it, it's just, yeah, it's interesting. It's eye-opening.
Yeah, it's what hurts me is we pay the price. Like people like me, is we I'm the one who pay the price for all this story. Only me, because I cannot travel anywhere in the world. I cannot have equal opportunities like other humans. It's hard. It's hard to navigate life. I am the one who is getting punished to be from Yemen and try to navigate life. Yes.
So sometimes I feel like in your comedy, you may or may not have talked about Canada. I'm not sure if you have connection to Canada or family there, or I don't know if you've said that before. Maybe not.
Yeah. So see, I told you all my life is. So I was working in the harbor in Paphos, Cyprus, and I meet my girl.
Yeah.
She's from Canada.
Okay.
Like slash Hungary, but so
right.
yeah, we just some people laugh. We are like I say to people like we had good sex, and she says she will sponsor me, and they're like, I mean, you know, you can use the word sex for everything. Like we just loved each other, and the relationship worked well, and she's like, I will sponsor you, which is also for me weird. That yeah.
So as a result, you were able to be in Canada or
So
Hungary?
now I am in Cyprus, but
right now. So right now you're in Cyprus.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for my documents from Canada. But I'm not worried because as she's as Canadian, she has the right to get me as her husband. So it's like I'm not worried anymore because even if the immigration say no, they cannot say no unless we are doing fake relationship, but the relationship is not fake. So
right.
So but you are worried if you are applying as a student because they might tell you no, you cannot come as a student and you cannot do anything, you cannot take the decision to the court or you. So but if you are going there as relationship and sponsor, if someone is sponsoring you from the family, or then it's like you don't have to worry because you have strong case.
Right, right. So what about so Cyprus must be beautiful.
God damn.
It's
Seriously.
probably gorgeous.
Seriously.
Oh,
Breathtaking. Especially I'm a big fan of nature. Oh my God. And this,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. So I think that there might have been documentaries, but what is, I'm curious, like what comedy is like in the Middle East. I mean, is there Arabic comedy clubs? I have no idea. I think there are. I think there are, or at least working comedians. There's a lot of funny people.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's the weird thing. As everything I tell you, it's weird. It's weird. For normal people. So first of all, in Yemen, nobody knows about comedy.
Oh, wow.
Like I told you, this human, which is the devices in Yemen, if you go and try to tell them comedy, they don't react. Like you don't, it's like you have computer or you go to Google and you are like comedy, it will answer you and say like this search can't be found. So that's the brain of humans in Yemen. It's like you say comedy, you go through his mind and it's like, no. So basically, that's part of the bad formulating to the brain, that they don't even know what's comedy. And
Sure. Right.
in Middle East, I would say like, yes, there's countries like Egypt, which is, some of them are Christian. I think 20% of the population are Christian, something like that. Or there are some, like for example, Emirates, they are more open, and there is Dubai. So these people have more access and they know. But I never knew about comedy, like until I was 21. I just know about comedy. My girl, it's funny. She's like, tonight, let's watch comedy. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm really like, didn't know. So she opened Fluffy. And I'm like, what the fuck is this
Right.
guy?
Fluffy's got he sort of has a hat, and he's, yeah, right.
Dude,
Right.
the problem with me, that's the issue. I'm more attracted to, I like Fluffy style doesn't attract me. I love Fluffy, but when you introduce me to comedy through Fluffy, I think it's the wrong move. So she showed me Fluffy, so I didn't want to listen to him or even
Right.
say, because I just saw him like making fun about his kid, his dogs. So then I loved the Joe Rogan podcast, and I didn't know I didn't even know that he's comedian. I just loved when he brought Elon Musk. It was like fascinating to listen to him.
I heard that. I haven't listened to that episode, but that episode I think it's been listened to so much, like by millions of people around the world. That episode.
Yes, he had Elon Musk 2 or 3 times. I would also advise you to listen to Elon Musk with Lex Freeman. He has podcast.
All right.
And Lex, he is the best person in the world to make AI and machines. So these two brains, Elon Musk and Lex, is just rocking it. Yeah, when they do it. Yeah, so let's come back. So then I saw, I knew that Joe Rogan is comedian, and I love Joe Rogan. Like, I don't know, I just love his voice, love the way he look. I love that he do the UFC. I love fighting, like so much. So I was like, whoa, this guy is comedian. So because I thought in Yemen there is class system, and like if you do if you are barber shop or if you are butcher, you are from down class system, or you're from certain countries and people look at you below. So I love that Joe Rogan is a comedian, and I was like, wow, I love this person. He's strong, he fight, and he do comedy. So then
Right.
I watch George Carlin, and he's like questioning things and say why people are treated by where they come from. They should be treated by what they achieve, you know. And then I'm like, wow, this is comedy. It's not just Fluffy
Right.
doing fun about his dogs. Wow. So I
Right,
then
right,
decided to be more in love.
right, right, right. And that's that whole idea about it takes 10 years. I feel like what they mean is that I feel like as comedians, it's almost like a blank canvas for a painter. It's we have so much freedom to talk about anything we want. And I guess it's a process of trying to discover what it is that we want to say. I mean, because we could just talk about our dogs and kids, or we could talk about the things that George Carlin talks about, and some have styles that are very, yeah, everybody's different. I this morning I watched a stand-up special with the comedian Dave Attell, and it was hilarious. But it's everyone's got different styles. And right, so you saw Fluffy and Joe Rogan, and yes, two very different, two very different people and everything. That's great. Fluffy is widely popular. I mean, highly successful. I mean, I can't even imagine. I think he makes a lot of money. I think
Yeah.
he sells out wherever he goes and everything. He's got a following. He's got his people and
Yeah.
everything.
So that's what we are talking about. That, for example, Russell, you know Russell Peter.
Oh, I love Russell Peters.
So Russell Peter, he has his people. I think that someone who is Muslim or someone who is religious wouldn't mind to listen to Russell, because Russell, he makes joke about race, you know, Indian, you look like this. So that doesn't interfere with God. And some maybe religious people would go to there. Maybe religious people wouldn't go to George Carlin because they would, oh, this guy is crazy. Fluffy, maybe some people, they are like, I don't want to question, and oh, he's racist, and they are like, I want to go to Fluffy and drink Coca-Cola and, you know, just listen about his dogs, and oh, mommy, I'm not into a you know. So that's why when I did sorry, I felt like you wanted to say something.
No. I love that idea about so there's George Carlin, Joe Rogan, Fluffy. They're all. I mean, George Carlin, when he was alive, I mean, they all, wherever they went, they would sell out theaters. They sell out theaters, but it's totally different audiences.
Yeah,
they each have their own people.
100%. And also, that's also to find your audience, because you are not really trying to make everyone laugh. One part of going to open mics and doing comedy is to feel. You need to be sharp to the point where when you see someone, you are like, I can make him laugh. Or when you see someone, you're like, oh, this asshole needs to go and listen to Fluffy. He will not like my
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Because maybe the joke you're saying is not the joke you're saying is a good joke, but if you based it on the reaction of some audiences, you might feel like it's not, but just you're right, because maybe some people in the audience, they're a Fluffy audience. They belong to they're a Fluffy crowd, and you might have a different crowd. You have a different.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Maybe the one who wanna go to Fluffy are obese. Someone who is obese is like, oh, Joe Rogan is talking about health, you know, or he's obese and he's religious, so he cannot listen to Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan makes fun about people who are not healthy and fat, Carlin questioned religion. So this person can't go and listen to them, which is fine. Nobody has to take it personal. Or as you said, when I tell you a joke, what makes it funny or what makes me funny is that I have different perspective than yours. maybe if you grow up in Yemen, you will not laugh to my jokes. Because it's just how you are formulate since you are a kid. You are like this. So me, I was like this. So I hit that bottom. Like all your life, you are like formulate that it's like 1, 2, 3. But me, it's like 2, 3, 1. So I try to hit you with that 2, 3, 1, and you're like, whoa, For sure, you need to work on it. You need to make it punchy. It's not just that easy. 3, 2, 1, and some people, maybe their perspective since they were kid might even be against yours, or might think that your perspective is wrong. And that's why I think you shouldn't censor people, or you shouldn't say to someone, oh, you cannot say this, you cannot talk about this, because I don't think there's anything wrong or right. Even the word wrong or right, we made it. What's wrong? What's right? What's black? What's white? Like, what is... So, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was watching the comedy special this morning, Dave Attell, and I think he's hilarious. But yeah, he said some things that sort of made me, tighten up and everything. But as I'm watching it, there's people cracking up, laughing. So absolutely. It's fascinating though that so you were saying you were in your 20s when you first saw the Fluffy special.
Yep.
And probably since then, I mean, that's the beauty of YouTube and everything, that it's given access to all this material and everything that and Netflix and everything and
yeah, exactly. You need to take the good from everything. And some people are also complaining about COVID and call it pandemic. It's not like in Chinese, the word pandemic means opportunity.
Really?
I don't think that there is pandemic, because if there is no COVID, I wouldn't meet you. I don't know if Zoom would be like you would be going to, like, people didn't know how good is even Zoom and open mics. Like George Carlin, Joe Rogan, Fluffy. Nobody did Zoom open mic with other comedians. Russell, and was easy. So opportunity, COVID, just be healthy, everything will be okay. And the pandemic that happened was a really good opportunity.
Right. Yeah, and I love that in a short amount of time, you've really cultivated a community, and even this podcast, I really see that it is it does feel like, it's true to the name of Open Mind, that we could really go in whatever direction and everything, which is nice.
Yeah, no, trust me. Okay, that's why I told you that I cannot say to everyone do podcast. Podcast is the best. No, it's just for me is the best, because someone, he might be like, do you know Jacko Willing?
Yeah.
So, that guy, he cannot be, I don't think he can be a comedian, but I feel like he find like, he would be like, get after it, he would be scaring people with his comedy, his punchlines. But maybe there will be people like, there is girls who like rough sex, so maybe some people would like Jacko comedy, so it's like different. Anyway, what I wanted to say by that is that he found what he likes. He's in the Navy SEAL,
right.
That's what I do. So for me, I just feel that podcast is what I like. And that's why I feel like people, they are like, they want to make money from podcast or comedy or anything and internet. I think the people who will success is the people who think that this is mine. And that's what I like. I like it. I really don't do this. I don't want money. I don't even see how many people watch my YouTube video. Like I never checked. I just love it. I love to talk to you. I appreciate it so much. I'm having fun. I learn a lot, and I don't care how many people watch it. And I think that's why I will succeed. I don't know. I'm just
Right, absolutely, and that is one thing that is very inspiring about the Joe Rogan podcast, in the sense of he just started, I think, for those reasons, that he wanted to talk to people, and then it just sort of snowballed and everything. But yeah, he has a couple Netflix specials, and they're very different than the podcast. In the podcast, you could really, we're not doing material. And so it's a very different format than when we're doing the open mics and everything. But in a sense, I can imagine how the podcast might help the stand-up, because in a sense, I mean, as you were talking about Yemen and just talking about different things that you're passionate about, or I can imagine that might lead to writing material about that, and I could see how they kind of would work together.
Yeah, I feel like you hit some good points, two good points. First point is, it's also fascinating when I do podcast with you or any other comedians, because I always see you doing jokes. So
right.
You are actually exaggerating. And then when I have people in the podcast, it's just interesting how you see someone, doing his jokes, and then I have you here. And it's just so many weird colors and different perspectives. But I love all comedians. They are always good people. The second thing is, and I really feel happy to be from this tribe, to join the tribe of comedians and being part of it. It's just a pleasure, just the people. And the second thing is, I think that so comedians before, we needed someone to promote us. Like, you need to go to do deal maybe with Netflix, maybe, or I don't know, just to be famous. And you need to do your own special, or you need to go to the TV. But now I feel that we are like tribe, and we have to think about everyone. So I feel like podcast is good to promote us. And how did I get introduced to comedy from podcast? How I found out about it more and more, and now I can have you in my podcast, and my fans will see you. You can have me in your podcast, and your fans will see me. So if everyone tried to make podcasts and build it, it's helping the art. It's helping yeah, I get too many punchlines.
Right, no, absolutely. Right. So to do this podcast, you didn't have to audition or anything, and you didn't have, no one had to like say yes, or you were just able to do it. Yeah, I mean, at least in the United States, for comedy, for so many years, we had the Tonight Show or David Letterman show. Like if you could be on that show and do a good 5 minutes, then and that would make you famous and everything. But you're right. I mean, I almost feel like we're sort of in this transition where that term gatekeepers, there are no gatekeepers. And just that idea, I mean, I guess it's just, now the journey might be a little more unpredictable, because we don't even know who's going to see this. I mean, who knows? There might be a comedy club in Toronto that sees this and really like, let's get a work visa for Mawad and get him in the comedy club, because they have a great comedy scene in Toronto, and who knows.
Yeah, and like as you said, like when they say come to the Tonight Show, and if you do good 5 minutes, which is bullshit, because this 5 minutes will not identify me, or maybe that day it didn't go well. It's just that day, like great comedians bomb sometimes, or like it's just that day God wasn't happy with me. So what? All my life is, or that day I didn't go to the mosque. So what? So then if that day I didn't go to the mosque and I went to that show for 5 minutes and it's am I gonna be depressed for the rest of my life? Like, it doesn't work like this. And that's why I think that podcast is the best way to gain fans and to people like you, because we are just having conversation, but through this conversation people will really like you. Just when they hear you, they are like, wow, I heard this so they want to then listen to your comedy, and that's the best fans you get. And they're gonna be ready, they're gonna come and laugh because they like your perspective, they like your points. So it's
Yeah,
also,
no, it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've become fans of some comedians through podcasts. I listened to Bill Burr's podcast for a long time, and then right, and then when he came nearby, I wanted to see him and everything. So yeah, absolutely. So in Yemen, there's no comedy clubs.
that's like when you ask someone, you are like, are you married? And they tell you no. You are like, how many kids you have?
But yeah, it's interesting because it's so probably in Yemen and in the Middle East, you probably grew up with so many funny people. Probably.
Oh my God, I love that you say this. Dude, there is people, I feel like these people, they already found who they are. It's like Dave Chappelle been doing comedy for like, I don't know, 20 years or 30 years, and now he find who they are. There are people who really find who they are. That's why when I found, so before I did comedy, before I know what's comedy, I went to college and I would write funny moments during the day, or funny
Wow.
stuff I remembered from before on my notes, and go and make my friends laugh. And I didn't
Really?
know, I swear, and I didn't know about comedy. Like, I didn't know that it's an art or you need to write. Like, I just, like, I had no idea, but I was just, oh, this is funny. And maybe I will not remember it when I talk to them, but it's just, because I come from Yemen, and I would tell them.
Right. And you, so that's so interesting. And you would write it down like you were
It's
writing material.
crazy for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probably there's probably so many funny people everywhere. And if there sort of was that, and I don't know if you'd call it the comedy culture, there's probably so many people in Yemen and other places that probably would have gone into that kind of art form and everything. But the internet is it's just revolutionary. I mean, it gives us access to so much. And
Yeah, and I love people who are so, like, they live with positivity. They are with anything. COVID, oh, pandemic, it's the end of the world. Uh, uh, Technology, and technology is getting better. Oh, we are going to live in the matrix. We will leave the human body. I don't know. So I think that I don't believe in the idea of it's the end of the, like, I don't live with conspiracies.
sure.
What is COVID? What is I think that every day, with what you can control, you can rather make them conspiracy and waste your life, or you can just try to just get the best out of what you can control. It's as simple, and everything will be good. Everything is opportunity. And yeah.
Well, I love that whole idea about a pandemic means opportunity.
It is an opportunity, especially
Yeah.
for us as comedians. Uh, Honestly, I don't know if I ever told you about Joke Zoom. So I wanna
Right. Yeah, I've heard you mention it, and I think there's some people that have come to the open mics that have gone to Joke Zoom and everything.
I wanna talk about Joke Zoom with you. So Joke Zoom is a simple place. It's like comedians we meet, but it's not like my open mics where only 4 or 5 people show up. Every day there will be around like 20, 30, like Rob, he built it. So every day there is around 40 comedians, 30,
Wow, every day 40.
every day around that number. Like we meet
Whoa.
and we go to break rooms, every room,
Yeah.
5 comedians or 4, and we spell the hour. So now I just want to tell you the comedians that been doing comedy for like 8 years or 5 years or 2 years or whatever, and they're like, oh, there are still 8 years left, 5 years left. I want to tell you what they say. So one comedian is like, no, I don't go to any workshop because anything people tell me doesn't work in the stage. Anything, any idea that comes from hell, only from my mind. Like he is like Una, it's like honey, you know, the honey without sugar. It's like really natural, which is stupid. You know, people can always help you. You always can get advantage. So don't make some ideas crumble your mind. Try to investigate on them, like a little bit work the
Right.
search engine, you know. So other comedians, they are like, oh, I go there for 1 hour and I only got 9 minutes because yes, we meet. I told you break,
Oh
which
yeah.
is when you are helping other comedians, it's good exercise for you. You get to know how to like. It's also your mind get break from your stupid jokes. I'm just joking. Or some of them, you know, some of your
Right.
premise that your mind is sick. You practice. You are still working in jokes, but you are getting some other perspective, and you know people. Um, what else? What else? There are too many things, and some people. Anyway, bunch of excuses, just like this. And some people would come once a week, or once a month, or once every. And it's not that you're gonna go today and you will get something. So what I do with Joke Zoom, I go every fucking day almost, or maybe I would
Wow.
take break 1 or 2 days. And the benefit that I found is that number one, if you work with the same people who work with you from yesterday, some people are nice and they keep thinking about your premise if it's something deep. And next day they help you, or they worked with you yesterday or last before. And if you come with new people, you again bring the joke from the beginning again with other minds perspective. So you get another ideas. So that's what I do. And I don't go with conspiracies. I try to go every day. Some people say, oh, the comedians there are not good. I don't care. It's humans. They are trying, and you have to. It doesn't stop there. I make the record, and I listen to it when I go for a nice walk by the beach. When I am in my best mood, I listen to it and I try to go deep what they are trying to say, what I'm trying to say. And that's how I work on my materials. So I think that also don't come with conspiracies, try to find what works for you, try to construct that. I don't know, I talk like I am George Carlin. Sorry, man.
No. I think it's great, and I love that idea about because it's the same thing that happens in open mics that you know we're there for about an hour, sometimes more than an hour, and we're only on stage for about 5 minutes. And you know, on one hand, you might, some people might feel like, oh, I did 5 minutes, I want to get out of here. But I think you're right. I think there is value of staying the whole time and listening to the other comedians. And I think the value might have to do with just to just being in that environment, because there's something about, I'm not sure if it goes along with this concept of the law of attraction, that in a sense, that in a sense, the more maybe that we're kind of surrounded by comedy, the more we attract and everything, and the more we grow, and so yeah, I think you're right. There is value of, I mean, there's value in performing and workshopping your jokes, but we do get a lot by listening to the other comedians and everything. And yeah, that's you. So that's really impressive. So I know every day is different, but generally, like, this is one thing that I'm trying to tinker with, is my personal discipline, and in terms of, because there's no rules to this. So there's no, it's not like a job where somebody's giving me an assignment.
Yeah.
So we could do whatever we want. We could not work it at we could do one open mic a year, or we could do 5 every day. And so trying to find our own just what works for us. So I've tried different things where in the morning because I've gone through different extremes of writing a lot and doing a lot, and then other extremes of like just writing nothing. And so my latest discipline is in the morning before I go to work, I do generally like these 3 or 4 things. I call it commune with the legends. I do when I'm working on comedy is like I get my laptop and I choose a comedian, and I just watch 5 minutes, maybe more, just to kind of soak in the legends. Like I was watching there was a great American comedian named Robert Klein, who in any case, I think he was popular in kind of like the 70s and 80s, but just to soak it in, maybe for like 5-10 minutes. And then I'll set an alarm for, I know some people write for an hour, and maybe I'll expand it, but I set an alarm for 10 minutes, and I just write for 10 minutes. And then if I can get any kind of premise, I maybe try to turn that into a joke. And then the last thing I do is on an index card, I've discovered that for me, a 5-minute set is, I have to have about 9 punchlines kind of thing. I mean, there's no rules, but basically the point is, the first thing I do is like I watch the legends or my heroes. I write for 10 minutes. I try to make some kind of joke, and the last thing I do is I prepare a set, so that if later that night, if I do an open mic, I have something ready. And so but it always changes. Some people, they do so many open mics every day. For me, it's about at least 3. If I could do 3 a week, that's good, but it changes. I know the more we do, the better that we get. So that's in this journey, that's kind of what has been changing and evolving, and like trying to figure out how to do this, and what works best for one person, it for another person. It's like fighting. It's like, I'm a big boxing fan, and so different boxers have different ways to train. And so I guess that's a part of comedy, is like trying to find so I dropped my phone. Try to find the best way for us to train, and
yeah.
But we don't have trainers. Like we're our own trainer.
Yeah, sorry, we had earthquake here before like 2 weeks, so I'm like, he's having earthquake. So what I wanted to say, I love that you mention fighting. There is boxer, I forget his name, but he's the one who beat Mike Tyson. Even Mike Tyson bite him on the ear. Do you know? You remember?
Evander Holyfield?
Okay, I don't want to say yes.
Or Buster Douglas, or
But do you remember that one time Mike Tyson bite someone ear and took
Yes,
it off?
I watched that fight live. I wasn't there, but I was watching it.
And
Yes.
you need to listen to that boxer in Joe Rogan podcast, and he explained to you how he felt. It's like he's like, when he bite me in there, I wanted to kick him in the balls. Like I get so angry. And he's like, after the fight, they come down together from the left. They were
Yeah.
together inside, and after his ear was biting, and Joe Rogan told them, "Did you want to hit him?" He say, "Man, I just got paid in the ring millions. How much you gonna pay me to fight in the left?" You know, so he's like, I didn't fight with him. And I don't know, he say, I forgive him. I live with forgiveness, which is, this is, you can learn from fighters. But he said what helped him to beat Mike Tyson is that he used to dance ballet, or I don't know, you know,
Wow.
and he's like, I didn't say to people that I dance, you know, like before. He's like, people will say with an asshole, you know, but he say the best thing that helped him to win Mike Tyson's style is dancing ballet. The way he
Wow.
was standing on.
Right. So that was the way he trained.
Exactly. So that's why it's people who are great boxers or great comedians are very valuable. Not now everyone will go and do ballet and box Mike Tyson. It won't work.
Right.
You cannot go and do ballet and wanna be boxer. It's you find, and he didn't do ballet all the time. His diet, but he just did it right. He scored. So you need to, and life is limited. You have short amount of time in earth. So basically, as you said, it's crazy journey.
Yeah, and just I love the comparison to fighting. I think there's a lot of comparisons of fighting and comedy. Like even so one comedy club that I went to, I didn't perform, but I went to in San Francisco. There's a comedy club called The Punchline, and the sign on the door, it's got, you know, it says Punchline, but it's got a boxing glove, you know, like punch, and it's like, oh, and I, you know, it's very obvious, but I realized, like, yeah, that's what jokes are. It's like it's like, it's almost like a punchline. And I no one really knows where the term stand-up comedy comes from. Like, no one is sure, but there's one theory that might be true, is that
Wow.
in the United States, the mob, you know, we had a, I'm not sure if it's the Italian mob, but the mob controlled a lot of the comedy clubs in Las Vegas and around, you know, around the country. But basically, the boxing was controlled by the mob, and so was stand-up comedy. And so the mob always loved but they called it they always wanted a stand-up fighter. Like, that term, that a stand-up fighter is someone that, you know, is going to be in the ring and just kind of take a punch and just, and so when the mob started getting into the comedy clubs and controlling the comedy clubs, they wanted stand-up comedians, meaning they wanted people they could just throw on stage, and they were even if people threw tomatoes at them, they were going to be able to be a stand-up comedian. And just, so there's a theory that it comes directly from boxing, that
Wow.
yeah, it's a theory, but it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I like this. Look, I think the theory that you like and make sense for you, as long as they are helpful for you, just take them. Which is, I think that comedians, they say like they are the Navy SEAL of entertainment.
I like that. I never heard that before. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because what we're doing, and even how I feel at this stage, where I don't, where I'm still trying to, you know, discover my persona, or who I am. It takes so much courage what we're doing. Like, there's been so many times where whether it's live or online, where I'm watching, you know, or at an open mic online, where I'm seeing everybody, and to me, everyone's doing great. And there's been so many times where I just want to, press the button and I want to run away and everything, because it takes a lot of courage, because I know, because I'm so new at it, I know it's not, I know it's gonna bomb. I know, like, it's not good. I know it's not, but it's like, but what choice do you have? The only way to become good is just by doing it. So there's no, you have to do it. You have to, we can only go up with the jokes that we have. And so there's been so many times where it's like, it's almost like, I know that I'm gonna, it's like a boxer going into the ring. I know I'm gonna get hit in the face. But it's like, but what you have no choice. If you want to get good, you have to get into the ring.
Yeah, you also have to act it like you think it's funny, so you really can find out what's funny or not. I feel like your voice levels make big sense. How your buzzes, like, and it's weird that I think there is no one way for the joke to go. Like, you cannot write the joke and be like, if I say this word, people will laugh. If I don't say this word, people will not laugh. And I think different audience will laugh in different ways. If you try to do it the same way you do it before, they will feel it, that you are just, like, you say that to other people, and now you are coming with the same, even your mind will crumble. And it's like, you need to give your audience fresh. You need to bake the bread and give them that time. You cannot give other audience and then you save how you say the words or the buzzes. But I feel that with experience, which is, you were saying 10 years, or with many years, with years and years, you will be natural to buzz, and you will just feel your audience, and you will be master on how just to hear different, you say the joke. I'm sorry, my obese joke. So now I'm gonna tell you how I found out. So I in my obvious joke, the whole set, I started with how weird I was, and like learning the Quran and all this, and then I ended up, I'm like, I wanted to do it, and then so if there is like obese girls in the audience, or if the audience looks like, and which is like, I think that's not even my real audience, but maybe they likes me. So anyway, I will make the end with the other weird story that I did. Or maybe I will end it up with I don't know if I want to say my jokes in here, but I will end it up with other 6 joke, but not with OPs. It's funny, but not about OPs.
Oh, right. So like what you're saying about feeling the audience, that you might go in with a plan, but based on the audience, you might adjust, or because ultimately I want to entertain. So there might be adjustments that you might do, it sounds like.
Yeah, like I feel like if you see the audience, like people like you, Noah, or couple of dudes who doesn't give a fuck, and you feel like this audience, they did it. If you are that master to even see like this guy, this motherfucker, they did it, so they're gonna die from laughing. But then you come with other perspective, maybe one girl who is obese, and if you make jokes about obese, she's gonna go and kill herself, because that's what she's insecure about. No problem. I can tell you another funny way I lost my virginity, which is in comedy. We are not trying to say the truth. If I say people like you, I will make fun about, for example, losing my virginity, and I will be like with OPs. And these people, Or if they are like this, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just fucking the art up, but I'm trying, you know. We
No,
are
I hear you, and this is like something that through trial and error I've been trying to figure out, like because I know because at a certain point I've wanted to be truthful and just speak and speak the truth of my experience, and then I've gone stage and been very, very just basically what I'm trying to say is that I've in comedy, like I've learned that it's okay to maybe base the premise might be based in reality, but it's all right to exaggerate and change things. And this is not like we're not on trial. Like we could it's comedy. We could change details. We could be free to do that. And yeah, it's it's quite a journey, but yeah. No, but I love that you're doing it. I don't know if you workshop that in Joke Zoom. I don't know if you
no that so I have different so that one I put it in my file. I worked on it a little bit. It's funnier now. I add some
Yeah.
more comparison. Like the car when you weigh yourself. Oh, I'm gonna make you laugh. Yesterday I was in Zoom, and the host was man. If it was woman, I won't fuck around. But it was man, and he was. I hope he will not hear this podcast, but I would consider him as obese. So it's like, no, I'm skinny. No, you are not. You need to eat healthy and you need to move. So I asked him before this joke, I'm like, sorry, the host, I forget your name. What's your name? And he's like, oh, my name is blah, blah, blah. And so I told them, what's your weight, if you don't mind me asking? And everyone was laughing because I felt also people would laugh because you are like, you ask the person, what's your weight? And then you are like, if you don't mind me asking, you just did. So this also might bring up. So I was like, excuse me, what's your weight? If you don't mind me asking, like I'm very polite, like I'm stupid. I don't know, man. I just told you if you don't mind me asking. So he's like, and that was even surprising. He's like, I don't know what you ask for my weight. He's like, I don't know what's my weight.
No.
And then I had 1 minute, and he was like, he told me my weight is 1 minute. So you have 1 minute. Then I was like, I don't want to pressure this guy. He's already stuck. So I said about the girl, I said the girl was 3 times your weight. Whatever your weight, it's 3 times. So people start laughing, and then and he would feel skinny that moment. So, and then he was like, I was like, the girl weight is 3 minutes. If you are 1 minute. So, you and I did also other comparisons. So I think that's what is it about. I cannot write the set that I did to you and you laugh and go and say it all night. Nobody will laugh. It's already expired.
Right. And that's brilliant what you did. You took that same joke, but then you tailored it to that particular. Were you did you say you were hosting or the other person was hosting?
No, he was like, I asked the host. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. You're working out that joke. That's great.
I just asked, and then I just said like she was 3 times, and there were also some other, like I didn't even make jokes about obese or that. So I just made it fast, and I said that my plan was to survive, not to do the wrong move, because you might like get buried. And then I just left it there. I'm like, okay, bye. So I think that's when you are really professional, when you are like, Joe Diaz, what I did, it's like he mastered it.
Yeah, those guys, I feel like it feels like those guys are bulletproof. Like they've been through it all. They've been through shows where probably maybe everyone was just staring at them, and they've been through it all, so nothing bothers them. They're able to adjust, and and
Exactly.
and have fun and just, I mean, they're humans, so I'm sure they feel things, but
Yeah. No, you know, Joy Diaz, you know Joy Diaz.
yeah. And
He,
I know he was on Rogan recently. I'm sure it's hilarious. I'm sure
so
it's great.
he said to Rogan that until today, he doesn't send tape. Like people tell him, can you send tape so we can book you? He's like,
Yeah.
motherfuckers, no tape, no tape. He's like, you want to do it? You come to my place, you listen to me, dick sucker, and then we rather sign contract or I can shake hand with you, eat edibles, and you go. Man, some people are now, they are just open micers and they are trying to make good tapes to send it to get booked. Joey Diaz, he's been doing it for 25 years and he's like, I don't send the tape. You come to me, I pull it up. Just come and listen.
Right.
So
Right. Because this whole thing, it's fascinating because there's no rules, and then some people that are working on the tape might feel like, hey, that's not fair. Why did he get booked and he doesn't have a tape? You know, there's no rules. I mean, there's no. But I guess the one, it's not a rule, but I guess the one thing is for us to I guess if you're funny, you're gonna be successful, and I guess that's what we're working towards and everything. So that's great that you do the joke Zoom. So you generally, so I feel like Jocko would be proud of your regimen, because you do joke Zoom. You probably do at least one mic every day, probably.
and I do every day, I would say up to 4 or 5 mics in a good day, 6 mics.
Every day.
I smash it, yes.
No days off.
No, I don't have days off.
That's amazing, dude.
I
That
don't
is
have
amazing.
weekends. I don't have birthdays. Like my birthday was like my birthday, the one in my passport, because I have different in my passport, different in my birth certificate, and my parents forgot. Different in Facebook. So it was the one in my passport, and I swear to God, like I just lived like normal day. The birthday in my Facebook, I recognize when people was writing to me. So then I just make it
Right.
hidden. I hide it. So no
Right.
day off. No day off. No, just I feel like when I have day off, I lose momentum and I need to switch
Right.
the engine again. But now I just
So you've probably seen it. So like, because I love that idea that we're not really competing with anybody. We're only, in a sense, we're only competing with ourselves. We're only, because I might get down on myself about like, when I try, when I, if I compare myself to other people, I might get down on myself, but I have to remember that the comedian I am now is way different than the comedian when I first started 4 years ago. It's like, so you, if you're doing all that every day, you must see the change. You probably see the change. There's probably so much confidence that comes from that and everything. And
yeah. So I would like to comment on that. So okay, you like, for example, if you are, I stole some stuff from what Joe Rogan say, but and I don't want to act like it's me. But he say that just so we can be honest. So he say that if you are driving a car and you almost fall down from mountain, you would appreciate so much after that to drive. Or if you been in bad relationship, you will appreciate and you will be good in your next relationship. You will be good at driving a car. If you fuck up with friendships, your next friendships, you will be bitter and you will not do them.
yeah,
That's what comedy about. The more fucked up set you do, and you need to be full in order to succeed. So you need to suck at comedy so much. Like you need, when you start comedy, you need to go and bomb. That's what you are looking for. You are not looking, if you go and if you start and you make people laugh, then something wrong with you. So don't chase that. You need to chase to be full. You need to suck so you can then appreciate success when you succeed, and you will be good at it. So that's how I view it.
Right, right. And what I love about that discipline is that, because there must be many days where basically you're going on stage whether you feel like it or not, probably, because there might be many days where there's nothing you'd rather be doing, but then there's probably other days where you might not want to, but you do it anyway.
The days that I don't want to do it and I do it, that's what I learned from doing it. When I don't want to do it, I get the best laugh. The days that I think that I will suck the most is when I do the best set, and it changed my mood, it changed my day. So the days that I'm happy, I don't want to be like I suck, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But now I learned that if I'm not feeling good, or if I'm like, oh, I'm having bad day, it's the time where you have to go. And it's the time where you have to make it like lifestyle. That's because your body will get programmed. Oh, we are tired, we're not doing it. Oh, we're not feeling doing it. That means shut down, we're not doing it. No, my body is programmed that the time that the most I don't want to do it is the time that you have to jump harder. That's how I program it. And look, let's talk again about fighting. You don't want to injure your mind, which is your body, because
Right.
Wesley, when you go and watch regular boxer, someone who I don't know, I don't want to be disrespectful, but someone who do shitty job, and he go and then do boxing 1 hour a day, and he do it in the cheapest boxing club, almost
right.
yeah, almost like he still owed them the last 2 months.
Right.
And when you go and you watch Mike Tyson, or this guy who beat Mike Tyson, you would see two different. You are like, wow, boxing, you have to dance ballet. I don't know what other crazy things he does. So I think with comedy, it's the same. When you see some comedian, maybe he's even working harder, but then you see him and you're gonna be scared. But then you see another comedian who, like, every day he wake up and work out. He is healthy. He eats healthy. My writing and how I work in comedy is fun. I always like to walk by the beach. I have fun with the open mics. I listen to my comedy when I work out, when I'm stretching. I keep listening to, I write. I try to do the things around, like the ballet dancing, the food. And it's, as you said, it's weird. You need to find what works out for you. But I'm able to get my body to work every day and still happy. I don't feel that I'm injuring myself, which
Right.
but I have a program, and that's why I don't want to lose momentum, because I wake up, I work out, I do the mics, I walk 4 hours by the beach and watch the sky. I do one walk midnight, spiritual sky, and I do one walk 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours, 2 hours, and then I sleep. And in this 4 hours, I keep listening to my sets and try to write.
Wow.
And sometimes so I think you just have to find what works for you. I think it's a very tricky game. Like I told you, I cannot tell you now. It's just, that's how you maybe should do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because and then almost makes you almost want to, like, or it makes me think of just throwing the whole idea about how many years out the window, because somebody maybe has done it for 10 years, but maybe they do one open mic a month, that's very different than another guy who's been doing it for a year, but does like 5 open mics a day. It's like so one guy has 10 years, but
Or
the
the wrong
quality, I don't
idea.
know.
They are doing it 10 years with wrong ideas that they think if they listen to someone's suggestion, it's not funny, only spiritual from them. God.
Right.
Like what I told you, I do listen to my materials at least 3 hours a day. Because when I go for a walk, I like to first start listening to music to get my body like, and I don't know what chemical, not the dopamine, something else, like to get it up. I like music. And then I listen to my sets. I mix it up with Joe Rogan podcast. But you are learning, he's comedian. You are learning from his podcast. And then if you say to someone, listen to your sets every day, 2 hours, they're going to be like, whoa, that's too much. Or if you tell me stay in this chair and listen to your materials 2 or 3 hours, it's too much. But I go to the gym, I work out, I listen to them. That's 1 hour. I go for walks, I listen to them. So I just find what works for my style. So
right.
Maybe you can take a bath and listen to them. Or I don't know. Just it's crazy.
And you're good with technology. You're good with setting up the Zoom mics and everything. And
well, it's funny because I was working in swimming pools and I just never knew how to figure out computer. But the weird thing is that people are lazy. You know that if you do boxing or if you do fighting for 6 months, you can be stronger 50% of people or 80%. So cooking, I am always lazy. I'm afraid to cook. I invest some time and now I make so delicious food. Like if someone tastes it, will tell me, oh, you can cook. No, I just spend some time in the kitchen. With technology, I'm not really, like I used to make all the pools green and it's only 2 bottom to open. Like so it's just, if you want to do it and if you try, our brain, if you watch, there is movie Human, the World Within. If you just know what's, in Netflix, Human, the World Within. Wow. If you just watch how strong it is your brain and how many billions of, I don't know, in your brain, you will feel like, even myself, everyone will feel shy and embarrassed how much we are crumbling that brain and not using it. Or in Yemen, burn it in Yemen. But our brain, if you find the way to work it, if you solve the puzzles, it's the man, Elon Musk, he figured out to go to Mars with his brain. Like human brain is strong machine. And I don't believe that Elon Musk has it better than you or me.
Right.
It's just you need to figure what's good for you. Elon Musk, he cannot, like he didn't be comedian or anything. Find what's your participation. It takes time to adopt your body, but when you adopt it, when you get in that, like your body will just, it's like machine. It get adopted and it wants it when it's already in the system. So just it's, as I told you, it's crazy, and I feel even like nobody knows. Maybe it will not even work for me, and I'm gonna watch this podcast and be like, okay, Mr. Knowledge.
No, I mean, but I think what's great about your regimen is that even though maybe to some people it sounds like a lot, you've been able to find a balance, which is nice. And I think that the nature, by putting nature into it, I think that probably helps the balance a lot.
Wow. I don't know how much time you still have, and I feel like maybe we are out of gas.
Sure,
I know podcasting is also like, when I start doing it, 1 hour would go and I'm so exhausted. But then when you do it more, you can more.
Right.
So don't worry, everyone is fine. I just want to tell you that this one of the fastest podcasts, that the time goes by fast.
Oh, that's
So
great. That's great.
I just
Thank
love
you.
you at the beginning and I say it at the end. That's like the two guys. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And yeah, and I look forward to talking with you more and everything. And no, thanks so much. This was a blast.
Then let's wrap it up and hopefully I see you again in the open mics. I would like to thank you again. And I don't know, it's not enough if I thank you until I die, but thank you for doing this podcast. That's how much I appreciate you, Wesley. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Bye bye.
Bye.